Olympia 2017 and the much anticipated appearance of Flex Wheeler. You know, let me do one of these Jerry Ward angle adjustments here, which will not yield as much benefit as Jerry extracts from this move, but I'm just a novice at it. Not as good as you at this shit, Jerry. He's been doing it much longer though. He's got it much more perfected than I do. Anyway, here we go, derailing again, and I'm going off on a tangent as I am wont to do. Flex Wheeler, return of the great Flex Wheeler. I'm conflicted over this. I'm, of course, very much enthused and excited to see Flex Wheeler come back and compete. Very much excited, very enthused, because Flex Wheeler, you know, he was the man when I first started having an interest in bodybuilding and started looking at some of the guys out there that were doing it and taking inspiration, drawing inspiration from these guys. Flex Wheeler was one of those guys that I consider all those guys legends from that period in time today, looking backwards. But Flex was definitely the mark that he's left on the sport. His footprint is indelible, and he owes this sport nothing, and this sport will always owe Flex Wheeler. Flex Wheeler entertained millions, inspired, no doubt, millions. He's had a huge impact on a small kind of cult-like sport. He's had a massive impact. And his physique will forever have been one of the greatest to ever grace a stage, and in some people's opinion, arguably the greatest. And there's small company with him in that regard. Very, very few. So, you know, the side of me that waxes nostalgic, I was thrilled, very excited, and much anticipated seeing Flex on stage. And he did not disappoint. I know the haters out there, and they're going to be haters. I already know that. That's axiomatic. They're going to say that they're dissatisfied with the condition he was able to obtain or achieve, or was willing to put himself through to obtain or achieve at his age and his condition, you know, in light of having running on one donated kidney, and nothing will ever be good enough for them. But it's not about you. It's about what he had that he needed to get out, and he had to find out and see. And I think it was a huge success. And again, a guy like him, or Kevin Levrone, or Sean Ray would be like, let me tell you something. If Sean Ray came back, even just as a guest posing, I don't think he ever will. Because he was so, he's one of those guys that was so legendary and so perfect, if anything can be perfect. His physique looked like it was just made out of cut glass. I don't think he ever would, because I think in many regards he feels either, number one, doesn't have anything to prove, which he doesn't, and number two, that it could only diminish his standing or his history, his past, legacy. And I don't think it would, but like I said, a lot of younger guys, a lot of the haters, and even older guys, a lot of the haters that weren't around in his heyday, you know, they would view him as if he didn't have that history maybe, and just judge him on what he was able to muster now. So, but what I was saying, if Sean Ray were to announce, hey, I'm going to come and step on stage next year, you know what? For the first time in my life, I would buy a ticket and fly out and watch this show. And I would get a good seat. And I wouldn't care how much it cost. Simple as that. Enough said. Anyway, this is about Flex, not about Sean. Now, so of course I think it was a huge success because he did it. He said he was going to do it. He did it. He got on stage. I think it's amazing. But where I'm conflicted is the takeaway. The takeaway from this. There's a lot of really good things you could see, and a lot of amazing and inspiring feelings you could walk away from this with. Various people, depending on your perspective and where you're at in life today, what you may be going through or have gone through, what your aspirations or dreams might be. You may learn a lot from his example and find great motivation in that, and go on and have big successes in your own life. And that's for you to judge what a big success is, right? It's an individual journey. It's your journey. You own it. But the other side, the more rational, pragmatic side of me that is 54 years old, that side of me wonders, is the takeaway from this that anybody out there in a similar physical state might want to take up a sport like this and compete in like an untested federation or something? I would hope not. I gotta be real, I would hope not. He's got tons of experience, tons of knowledge. His body responds, muscle memory, everything else. And even then, I just don't know from that aspect, which is the elephant in the room, and we can't just ignore it. I can't just ignore it. I would have to say that if someone approached me and said to me, James, I'm running on one donated kidney. I've had a long, hard road of trial and tribulation to get here today. Now I'm healthy, I'm feeling good, but it's been my lifelong dream to compete in a physique type of sport and step on stage. What do you think? I couldn't in good conscience advise them to do so in any untested organization. And especially, even just the things we do, even naturally, even from a natural standpoint, to be competitive, to be truly competitive from a natural standpoint, what would they have to subject themselves to? And would they be placing themselves at risk? Yes. Yes. On some level. Is that risk worthwhile? That's an individual thing. It's an individual journey. It's totally subjective to perspective. He who owns that perspective. From my point of view, from the cheap seat and spectator seat, I would have to say to somebody like that asked me a question, I'm not saying Flex Wheeler. Flex Wheeler's not your average typical guy, okay? Regardless of what his health status is or has been or whatever it was, he's not your typical guy. He has all the muscle memory in the world. He has all the experience. He has all the knowledge. His body has done this many times to a far greater degree. This was probably a very watered down version. God knows how little he might have subjected himself to get there. I have no doubt that he could have really blown the lid off of it if he wanted to just completely throw caution out the window, which would have been crazy thing to do. So I don't think quite the takeaway. I understand the impetus, right? The energy driving that motion and that desire. That part of it is all good. But the arena that was vented into, not so sure, man. Not so sure. Because even a guy like, similar guy, not Flex, similar guy in similar situation, running on one donated kidney, I don't even know that I could advise a person in good conscience in that condition to consider competing, to like seriously consider competing, even in a natural show. Not really making a hard run at it with everything, even as a natural, because so many things that we do, even on the natural, we're not going to be the best thing for a guy with one kidney that's been donated. Not going to be the best thing. Anything, any way you could try and dry out is bad, in my opinion. Even the simple act of lifting the weights with a great deal of intensity, it spikes your blood pressure crazy when you lift. Fact. Okay? Not fiction, not bro science. Truth. Also, truth. High protein diet, even moderately high protein diet, even moderately high protein. What does high blood pressure do to the kidney? Well, for one thing, kidneys play a big role in regulating blood pressure. So it's kind of which came first, chicken or the egg, when blood pressure issues come. They come from high blood, kidney issues. Did it come from high blood pressure in certain instance? Or is it part and partial and indicative of the kidney disorder and it's causing high blood pressure? You understand what I'm saying? You probably don't, but check it out. It's true. And just the lifting itself, the strenuous act of lifting, spikes that blood pressure. You can best believe it spikes it enough to push that protein, through the filters of the kidneys, to push it through the kidney. Those molecules are supposed to be too large to get through. They're not supposed to get through. But they just normally can be found in your urine even after a strenuous workout. So even just working out hardcore on one donated kidney may not be, it's nothing I would advise somebody to do. Because I'm not going to take a chance with somebody else's life. I wouldn't advise it. So who's to say? So on the one hand, it's awesome to see him. I think he did a phenomenal job. Hats off to him. I think it's awesome that he did it. But on the other hand, in that takeaway from that, like I said, the impetus of it, I think is inspiring. A good example for many people. But that arena that it was directed to, not so sure that that's a good example to anybody in that condition. I wouldn't advise serious bodybuilding to anybody with that physical condition. So I don't know. I'm conflicted. Anyway, hopefully everything is awesome in Flex's world. Probably is, and good for him. And congratulations. I think he looked awesome. You got to understand the arena he was competing within on that note, how he appeared. The haters may say, oh, well, he fell short here or there. He didn't fall short. He didn't fall short. He did what he said he was going to do. It appears he was cautious, which is awesome. I don't know what cautious means, you know, as far as how cautious you should really be in that condition. But he's trying to go up against guys that are young stallions in their prime, with the exception of Danny Hester, who is just a genetic freak. You know, that he can look that good at his age. If you don't, you know, if you're not aware of that, which I'm sure you are. But all those other guys, man, they look like $1 million, and that's a rough crowd trying to stand next to. That's. Anyway, you guys have an awesome evening. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. And of course, I could be wrong. It's always a possibility. Stranger things have happened.